Good morning. Welcome to Sun Up on 7. It's the show you don't want to miss. But as said before, we're jumping straight into our first segment before we get into our couch talk. And we're here joined by Dr. Carol Babb and Miss Executive Director of Peacework and Mr. Adam Benz, who's the public relations of the US Embassy. And we're here talking about Financial Literacy Month and what it all entails. Good morning to both of you. Welcome on the couch back again, Adam and Miss Dr. Babb. How are you both doing this morning?
We're doing well. We had a very successful 12 weeks.
Okay.
Teaching financial literacy to 3 outside schools, namely St. John's Vianney, St. John's Anglican, and Unity Presbyterian. And Adam wanted us to come up with an innovative name, so we call the program Money Smart.
Oh, I like
and
that.
And so this Money Smart piggy bank is for Brandon. He didn't get a piggy bank the last time.
And then it has the name on it.
See, yeah,
so didn't have the name on it. I just want to throw that out there.
Okay, so you want this one so you become Money Smart?
No, I don't feel hurt, and I don't think I can get over these feelings as yet. But I like that idea of Money Smart. When you think about being smart, you think about how you manage your money. And that's why I think financial literacy is super important in an economy right now where things have been very, fluctuating and you don't know how to, you get an allowance or you get a paycheck or whatever. I think it's important we understand how to budget. And these are tools that not necessarily were always taught in school.
I know I wasn't, and would love it right now.
No, it's been a great opportunity for us. When we were approached by Dr. Babb about this program, we thought, how can we support this? Because it's been since January. It just ended in March, 3 months for young people ages 11 to 14 to understand not only about how to save money, but also how to budget, how to have a goal, how to have a plan, how to achieve what they're looking for. Some of the stories, we said some of them have been incredibly moving. We had one student who talked about how he wanted to save up money, and he ended up saving $50 so that he could buy a tablet for high school because he saw how his older brother was always using his mother's smartphone and how he struggled to complete class assignments. So for him, this is like changing something. It's creating a new door. So we talk about the fact that like many people when they're young, the idea of being able to achieve your dreams sometimes seems so far away, but having the chance to actually take the steps to get to your goal is something I think was so great about this program. So we are very excited to be part of it, and I think this is very important. And we also chose 3 specific schools where we thought that maybe there might be a chance in those communities to have the students sometimes be the model of the action. And we saw in several cases, we actually helped them open up their own first savings accounts. And in a couple cases, actually their family then came afterwards and opened an account.
Oh, wow. So they've convinced
absolutely.
To come.
I think this is Dr. Babb.
So, we did a pretest, and only about 2% of the students had savings account. And I'm very happy to share that out of the 3 schools.
Wow.
Really?
And now we have about 49% of students having their own savings account. And we have challenged them, even though the program, the Money Smart program, is officially ended. We are going to check back with them to ensure that they're saving daily. Another important aspect of this program was emphasizing the value of work. So when I first went to the students and I told them, well, one of the goals of this program is to open a savings account. And they said, Miss, how will I do that? And I told them about how Jacito learns to save. He got jobs. And so I told them, you need to find jobs. Then one of the students said to me in the class, what if your parents and your family can't afford to give you a tip after doing chores? I said, talk to your teachers. So this little boy, his teacher, he worked for his teacher. And he was able to achieve the goal of $50 to open his savings account.
Wow. I was just going to ask on that note too as well. Doing those runs, talking to all these students, what has been some of the big challenges? I mean, now looking at how if your parents or your family members can't afford to give you a tip, what are the challenges? Because financial literacy, yes, it's all great, learning how to work your money, but how if you can't have ways to get streams of money? What are the challenges these young people face? Because we look at 11 to 14, we're like, they don't have any problems, but they probably do. And so what have been the challenges they have voiced to you when it comes to financial literacy?
Well, I think the hardest thing for a lot of young people is if you've never seen it done, it just seems like an idea, a hypothetical, right? These are just things on paper, right? Until you actually have a chance to see this is something I can do, I can be part of, and that you don't have to save a lot of money to start the process, right? So even if you have $2, that can be the beginning, that can go to more and more. And so I think the most exciting thing for me is to see the students begin to become excited about this themselves, right? Because they actually see, and Dr. Babb has talked about this many times, going into the program, this was something other people did, and now it's something that they do. And I think that's the key, is to walk them through the process so that they can say, I can be that person to open up that account. I can be the person to work towards that dream. This is not just for somebody else, this is for me. And so I think this is why these programs are so important. I know that you've talked about this all the time.
Yes, another important part of the program is teaching them SMART goals. Yeah. So we actually taught them, just like what Adam said, some of them came, to me, some of them felt like it was literally impossible. And then we taught them SMART goals, saying S meaning what do you specifically want to achieve? And okay, I want to save $50. Okay, how will you measure that you are getting it? So they saved $250 a week getting jobs, and they were able to track it. Was it relevant? Yes, it is relevant because I have a chore, now I have a job. And so for many of them, it's to try to find jobs. Yeah. And we advise them that they must seek out people who they can trust.
Very true.
Because, we have to be very careful with young children.
Apart from the SMART goals, what is 12 weeks did you teach them?
We taught them about needs and wants.
Okay.
Okay, so
very important.
It's very important.
Really hard.
Need
Yeah,
that lesson
exactly.
as well.
It's true.
So in the pre-test that we have, one of the questions was, do you need a Gucci bag or do you want a Gucci bag?
Right.
Right?
I love
and
that
then,
question.
so we teach them about differentiating between needs and wants. You need a shoes, you need a shelter over your head, you need food, but you don't have to go to a restaurant. We advise them, yes, nothing is wrong in treating yourself nice, but after you have reached your goal. And one of the first things we teach them is that whatever money you make, you must pay yourself first. Paying yourself first means saving a minimum of 10% of what you earn.
Yes, that is.
And that's for you. That's for you to develop, to do whatever you want for your future. So that's one of the first things that we taught them in budget. So your income, and on top of that, expense must be your savings before you do anything else. Because Renata, if we wait until after we spend out everything, and that's the problem. People think about saving after they have spent everything.
That is so true.
So a budget is very important. It tells you where your money go instead of wondering where it went.
Oh, you know what? I'm just here.
Yeah, you're learning.
I know, right?
What I love about these lessons are not just for young, like
Exactly.
11 to 14. It's for people, any person.
Yeah.
I think anyone can be able to adopt these lessons and say, okay, I can apply these now. What I love, and you mentioned this before, and I want to ask you to go a little bit in depth with it, is the fact that you're going back to monitor the program. Because it's 12 weeks. We loved all these lessons. Yay!
Yeah.
Well, I saved $50. I opened bank accounts. But sometimes these things are not continuous.
Right.
And it's sometimes hard to keep it up. Other things come in place. You forget the lessons, or the lessons get miscured, or whatever it is. So how would the monitoring process go about?
So we will check in with the principals, with the teachers. I have developed a very good relationship with the teachers, so we are very close friends, so we WhatsApp each other. In addition, in terms of sustainability, we have provided a handbook for students. So the teachers have it. As a matter of fact, those teachers were students themselves. One of the teachers said to me, Dr. Babb, I wish you were around 20 years ago.
That's my sentiment right now.
And she told me that, and she was like, oh my goodness, where were you when I needed you most? I said, it's not too late. It's not too late, but the optimal time to teach a child any lesson, any topic, anything that you want them to learn is 0 to 8. That's the formative years. Catch them while they're young.
Right.
And for us at the embassy, it made a lot of sense to work in this program because it fit into our larger goal, which is to work with the holistic aspects of what a community needs. We're looking at Southside Belize. Belize City specifically, we invested in a lot of work to try to help former gang members have a chance to start new businesses, and then also investing in small entrepreneurs that wanted to have the opportunity to actually grow their businesses and get investors. So these are all like the future, but we're looking right now at the next generation, the younger people who are going to be able to say, you know, I see that these people are actually having some businesses that are successful. I want a business too. And hey, this is how I'm going to start. And this is, so I think we, as you said, we start at a younger age and we invest in them now. And I think that's what we always, we talk about this a lot. I mean, we love that this program exists, but the next part of the challenge is also for all of us. I mean, the students themselves have invested in themselves and in their future. And now it's up to us right now to invest in them. So I kind of want to put a challenge to the business community to say, will we invest in our young people? Will we help keep this going? Will we help provide the support for these young people who have dreams and have goals and are working towards them to help them get that? And I think now that's our chance to keep it going.
On that same challenge though, I want to ask practically, how would you want the business community to support? Because I think sometimes when we hear support, we're wondering, okay, what do you need from me? Is it money? Is it providing jobs, spaces? What do you need?
Well, I think we had like a really good example of some great support. Maybe you can talk a little bit about the financial credit union and how they were
right. So, as you may know, I'm the education director for HRCU.
Yeah.
And so I have encouraged the students to open an account with HRCU because as a member owner, you automatically qualify to get a scholarship grant.
Oh, wow.
An education grant, automatically, one per family. So it doesn't matter, Brandon, who you are or where you're come from, just by the mere fact that you're a member owner, you get this education grant. And HRCU is also committed to provide ongoing financial education to its members. And actually, we have been approached by schools. Belize Bank has also offered to assist. I have been in communication with Mr. Giuseppe, and actually we're starting with a school at Wesley College with their support. But I also want to mention, and Adam mentioned it too, that another important part of the program was entrepreneurship.
Yes.
So we got in young entrepreneurs to talk to the students, and they had a market day last week Wednesday to display their products.
That's huge.
And they were advised that the first thing that they must do after earning their money,
save.
Pay yourself first, save.
In my mind, I call it pay yourself. I need to get that mindset of calling it pay yourself.
Yeah. I love the fact that, so it's building up over these 12 weeks, and now we had the graduation, and I see that the Prime Minister was there. Could you tell us more about that and how he's contributed?
Well, it's exciting because it was wonderful to have him be part of the program, and I know that Dr. Babb and the Prime Minister have a long relationship, but what I was so interested in hearing his story was how he grew up as multiple generations of entrepreneurs, right? His father was an entrepreneur, his grandfather as well. You grow up with certain values, and you see those values modeled. And I think that we've seen this ourselves. I mean, our Chargé also, her father was from Turkey and was a small businessman as well. So she grew up with certain things. What happens when you don't see that? What happens when you don't see that action modeling? You know, then what this program does is it gives you a chance to say, we're going to model it for you, and then you can model it for others. And I think it's incredibly inspiring. I think one of the things that the Prime Minister said was inspired by was the stories of the students who inspired their parents to start saving. And it can go both ways, right? We can just say, oh, well, I never had that luck, or I never grew up in that kind of family, but we can make those families ourselves and those relationships ourselves. So I think having the Prime Minister there was important because I know he cares about entrepreneurship, and I know he cares about these types of programming. But I think that message that he shared, I think is what I think really resonates, and I hope that everyone takes with this. I mean, it goes beyond just one community, right? This is something that everyone in Belize can be thinking about. So I think, you know, we all know that we all talk about children in the future, right? But what are we doing to help the children actually become that future right now? And that's what I think this is one tangible example, but again, this is going to be one of many things that we're going to be doing. And
Adam, I also want to share that last night I got a number of texts, and parents are asking me, how can I get my child involved or, you know, in a program like this?
And I was just going to ask that. I mean, this closed off 12 weeks. I think that was really short. And I mean, I totally understand, you know, there's other initiatives and so, but is this going to be something you're going to do again? Are you going to pick a different set of schools? You know, how is that going to happen? Because I don't think it should stop right here. I feel like it should go out district as well, because who says Corazal and PG don't need
Right,
the same
Salido, right,
here as well.
Exactly. And,
Right.
and that's the challenge. So this is why we call what we did a pilot program, because we saw that it was a pilot and the pilot was successful, right? It achieved its purpose. But now what we do is we go back and we look at analytics, what worked, what did not work, what is transferable, what is specific to this community, or what can be exchanged and what can work in other communities. And so I think the next phase of this is then to go back, see what the data shows, and see how we can implement this and grow this. And I think it is going to be it's going to be us, but it's going to also be many other people. And you had a great point, like what should the business community do? What should private individuals do? You often feel like, I don't know. I mean, it seems like a big issue, but I think in a way it's a little bit like my favorite story as a child, which is Stone Soup. I don't know if you ever heard of this.
Yes.
But she knows the story.
Yeah.
She's a teacher, she knows the story.
Stone Soup
But
where-
it's about this town where, well, you want,
You go ahead and tell
so
it.
the story
That's
was,
an
and I
interesting
loved
story.
the story as I was a kid, but it was about a town that had nothing, right? And they always saying how poor they were and how hungry they were. And then this stranger comes to the town. He says, no, I'm going to make the biggest soup in the world. And he starts boiling a rock. And people are like, well, this man is crazy. They're like, what is wrong with this guy? And they're like, well, if we just, maybe we throw in a vegetable here. So someone starts throwing in like a carrot or tomato or something else like that. And at the end
It
of
was
it,
a good
they
soup.
have this amazing soup, the best soup anyone ever had, because everyone actually had a little element of it
Yes,
that they could contribute.
community-minded.
They didn't even think about it. And I think that's what we can all do. Everyone, a financial union can contribute one way, but a lumber company can contribute a different way. Every business has something that they can offer that can help move these things forward in some way. And so it's just about figuring out what you have and what you can contribute to making a difference. And that's what we're doing in our end, just from our part. So, and I think we all need to keep on doing it, I think.
Yes.
In that same regards, I think for business communities, there's a need to support programs that are showing actual good statistics, that are showing great outcomes.
Right.
Will this, I know you said how the guys are going to take this all back, we're going to analyze what worked, what
Right.
didn't work, and so forth. Will those statistics be shared with the business community too as well, so that they can see, okay, this is a thriving
Right.
program I should be supporting in different
Right.
ways, because I think that's going to be able to give a push too as well.
Right.
To allow them to see the necessary need for them to
Yeah.
throw in some money or throw in a job or throw in
Yeah.
a safe space
Yeah.
for young people, even if it's an internship, a mentorship where they can
Well,
be able to follow
that would have
someone
been my next point, Renata, that I will check in with the students, even though the program is over.
Right.
But mentorship is an important
Yes.
factor, because if we want to keep these children engaged and on the right path, we need to check in with them. And I intend to do that.
Yeah.
Some of them really, I would like others to help me mentor them. Because you have to catch them when they're young.
This community comes in as well, and entrepreneurs.
Right.
young
Exactly.
entrepreneurs.
Yeah, and
Yes.
if you're not seeing it at home, you mentioned something so
Right.
important, like, seeing your parents,
Right.
being able to model that for you, the values that are enshrined in your mind
Right.
to do these things. I think it's great to have somebody, even if you can't see that person every day,
Right.
it's just having somebody that can say, I'm talking to these two students.
Right.
I'm just telling them if they have a problem, they can message me at any time and we'll be able to discuss this or
Exactly.
something. And I think that is something why I'm imploring the community to be able to look out on and see
Right.
if you can offer services to somebody.
Right.
It's not like you have to be at their house every day.
Right.
But if you're able to give good values, give good standards for people to, apply their life with, I think that's important. So, that invitation is open to people that want to
assist,
be mentors and
to be mentors.
Absolutely.
And that's another part of the program that we need to include to Adam going forward, mentorship.
This is all the things we're looking at right now. And I
Right.
think, it's a great question. Like, we are going to look at the analytics and all the data and everything, but we also know it was successful. We saw it. We saw it in the face of the students. We saw it in the experience that they had. We know the success is there. It's just like figuring out how best to move it forward and what is needed now to go to the next level, because it should never be just about doing the same thing over and over again. It should be about trying to say, we built on some success and let's build on that some more. So I think that's what we're going to be figuring out, how to expand, how to make this impact. And frankly, I think we have a lot of really good things to look forward to, because a lot of great things were done in this period. And
Right.
I think if it's just shown one thing, is that this is important for Belize, and this is important for the financial literacy is never as flashy as some other expressions people say. People makes you think of tax season, right? But it's not that. It's more than that. It's about having hope. And if you could just redefine financial literacy as what is the process of making your hopes and dreams a reality, then maybe we have a little bit better branding and we have a little bit better of a sense of like what this is really all about.
I really like that
There-
way of looking at it
Yeah.
because I didn't think about it as hope or anything in that way.
It is. It is because I imagine that where some of these students are, they didn't have a savings account. They didn't even know about how to manage their money. Now they are taught how to make goals. You can make your goals.
And they're
You
teaching
can
their
dream
parents as
big,
well.
right?
Yeah, I
and,
love that.
And the
Yeah.
part of goal making that we taught them, it must be relevant. Now come and tell, so someone they say, oh, Miss, I want to be a millionaire. I tell her, yes, but take it one step at a time. What do you want to be to
You're
do?
100-aire at
Spec-
first.
yes. Specifically, measurable. And then I also read, because I read a lot about financial literacy, one gentleman in the United States said, our students spend like 8, and if you think about Belize, 8, then 4, that's 12, 14 years. They get to go to school, you teach them and help them to get big jobs, but you never teach them how to keep and save their money.
That's very true. And I really appreciate the whole idea of teaching them from their young, like you said,
Yes.
grasp them from their young so that they could take this on into the future. And in terms of continuing on, we here at Sun Up on 7 would really like to hear outcomes of or projections as to what comes next in this project, because I think it is so important for our community, for our young ones to gather this information from as well. Look at me, I'm here feeding from the information as is.
Yeah.
I thank you for my piggy bank again.
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
My nephew's utilizing his one.
Okay, good.
But I want to ask or make a suggestion if it's not something that's in place as yet.
Sure.
When it comes to analyzing and seeing how it works as well, is there going to be a conversation with some of the young people that were a part of the program to ask them, what do you think was your favorite part? What should we improve on? What lessons really stuck with you? I think that would be very important to incorporate too as well, because who knows better than young people what they want to learn?
Absolutely,
Right.
the students and the teachers too,
And
because
the teachers
who actually went through the
so
process of teaching.
we intend to do a post-evaluation. We have done analysis of some data. We did a pre-test. That was the beginning of the program, a pre-test. And honestly, only about 20% got about 60 and over.
That was very interesting.
And I haven't shared this with Anna yet. And the post-test revealed that 69% got 60 and over. In the pre-test, some children did not get even one correct. In the post-test, there was no child that did not get at least one correct.
That is amazing. So it definitely shows.
It shows growth.
But it also shows how much children want to be given attention and support and have someone there saying, hey, I believe in you, let's work on this. And I think, to me, I think it's people inspired. They learned because they had great teachers, but I also think they felt like they were supported.
Right.
To follow this. And I think this is part of it. And I think for us, we talked about, when we talked about analysis, I mean, we're already having the conversations about next step. I mean, we're already, the pilot program was successful, the next phase is there. I think a big question we talked about now is what is the role of mentorship? What is the role of modeling these behaviors and having someone who can continually be a guide? Because there becomes a point where you have saved that money in your piggy bank, but you still don't know what to do. You need someone you can talk to. And so I think a big question for us is how do we actually talk about how do you get support, like you said, from a person you trust? Especially, unfortunately, in some families, maybe you don't have a person in your family that you can talk to about these things. So I think that's something we have to talk about too. I know that everybody treats Dr. Babb. I mean, that's why we need about 5,000 more Dr. Babbs, because she's like a mentor for everybody. And I mean, I export her around the world, basically. We solve all the world's problems right here. But I do believe that, we do need to make sure that there are other people stepping in and going in and trying to say, hey, business people especially, entrepreneurs, and saying, hey, well, this is what I did. And that makes it more real, I think that's, so again, I mean, I'm very excited to share the next stage when we get there.
I am too as well. Like, I'm just loving all of this. I want to plea again for the community and specifically small business and micro businesses too as well that started during COVID. I think they would be perfect people to go and be a mentor. So for all of those small businesses, we've had a million and one of them come on here and talk about, the start of just like a dream, making it something come alive. I think those people that show the dream of, losing a job and doing all
Right.
these things.
Yeah.
Those stories are impactful, and I think they would be able to really contribute to mentorship with these young people.
Yeah.
And I have to commend, the US Embassy, Dr. Babb. All of these initiatives are truly important because young people need development. They need attention. They need to know that they're valued and invested in. And that is how they can be able to develop and invest in our country, knowing that there is somebody pushing them to be their best self. Not better than anyone else, but their
Exactly.
best self.
Yes.
So thank you for the great work.
Yes, thank you.
I just want to big up my team before I leave.
Yes, please, by all means.
Dr. Rose Bradley, Dr. Diane Danderson, and Mr. Patrick Flowers. These people have worked with me. Like last Saturday, they were at my house from midday to 8 p.m.
I hope you'll provide them some food. And
Of course, they get everything. But they are amazing, and I must acknowledge them. I could not have done it by myself. It's a team effort.
Always.
Right, great.
And also, it's a team effort with Adam and Shadell and Fidel. I can't forget them either, too.
And we're part of the family now. So.
Yes.
And we're happy to have you. We're happy to
Thank
have
you.
you part of the family. And again, continue the great work. For the business community, for people out there, again, the call is open for mentorship. If you feel like this is something, it doesn't have to be a whole 50 students you take on, You could
Exactly.
take on one or
Exactly.
two, whatever you can control and handle, but have the conversation. See, sometimes people are wondering, what can I do to give back to my community?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be finances. It can just be your knowledge, passing it on to somebody else. So take that call and take the step to do something more and help people a little bit more in the community.
And if I could add one more thing, but also for the mentors, I would also encourage you to say, don't just talk about the good side of your company, talk about your struggles. Because I think especially for young people who have struggled in their own lives, that's really inspiring.
Could
To see
relate.
how people get beyond that. So, I mean, there's something really powerful to that, and I think that entrepreneurs can really play an important role. So we'll see. We'll be back again, and we'll
Yes.
tell you what good things we're doing in the
We're
future.
excited.
Forward to having you back.
We're really excited for that. So with that, we go to our first commercial break, because I'm just realizing
Right.
we didn't have one yet. And we're going to our first commercial break. But when we're back, remember, we're spicing it up. We're not making you lose out on the couch talk. So you'll be receiving your hot couch talk, because a lot has been happening in Belize as always. So stay tuned for that exciting, juicy conversation. We'll be right back.